might happen that I might lose a co-host. Hopefully not permanently, but one might get sick or one might not show up. So I'm going to try doing this solo thing a little bit. So I don't even know if this video is going to stay up. I have no idea. I did very little preparation as usual. That's nothing new here. If you're new to our channel, we usually do TV recaps. We do a Friday night podcast where we talk about everything in, pretty much genre news, superhero stuff, wizards, sci-fi, and the occasional movie about a drug deal gone bad, stuff like that. So I'm going to do, I guess, a little news today. We'll talk about, been kind of a slow news day. Just kidding, by the way. We're going to start out with Kevin Smith had a heart attack. Our boy Kevin Smith, who we have not been very nice to in this on this podcast at all, to be honest with you. But I'm not going to be throwing any shade on him today. The man is not feeling good. And this is from Bleeding Cool. Kevin Smith suffers a massive heart attack. Before I get into the article here, he's kind of gone up and down in weight, and that can be a little hard on the heart. But we're all getting older, and this is the kind of news that freaks. Well, it doesn't freak me out, but it gets me thinking, because we're about the same age, me and Kevin Smith. I think we're maybe a year or two apart. And this is the kind of stuff you got to think about when you get older, especially when us nerds are getting older. And this man has done a lot for nerddom, for lack of a better word. So as much as I haven't liked, especially don't the comic book man. Okay, I mean, that's the one thing I particularly don't like from him. I know some people like it, but I think it set back comic book retailing 20 years. But and there you go. I threw shade on the guy. But here we go. It's from the wonderful Bleeding Cool News. Kevin Smith says, I was trying to do a killer stand-up special this evening, but I might have gone a bit too far. After the first show, I felt kind of nauseous. I threw up a little bit and it didn't seem to help. Then I started sweating buckets and my chest felt heavy. Turns out I had a massive heart attack. The doctor who saved my life at the Glendale Hospital told me I had 100% blockage of my LAD artery, also known as the Widowmaker, because when it goes, you're a goner. If I hadn't canceled the second show to go to the hospital, the doc said I would have died tonight. For now, I'm still above ground, but this is what I've learned about myself during the crisis. Death was always a thing that I was most terrified of in life. When the time has come, I never imagined I'd be able to die with dignity. I assumed I'd die screaming like my dad, who lost his life to a massive heart attack. But even as they cut into my groin to slip, oh God, Jesus, sorry about that, folks. Oh God damn, that gives it. Now I lost my place. Or even when they cut into my groin to slip the stent into my the lethal Widowmaker, I was filled with a sense of calm. I've had a great life, loved by parents loved by parents who raised me to become the individual I am. I've had a weird, wonderful career in all sorts of media, amazing friends, and the best life in the world, an incredible daughter who made me a dad. But as I started into the infinite, I realized I was relatively content. That's really interesting. Yes, I'd miss my life as it moved on without me. And I was bummed we weren't going to get life. Get to make another Jay and Silent Bob before I stuffled loose from this. Oh, I can't even read that part. So yeah, it sounded like he was, right at the time of death, he was pretty calm. I don't think I would be that way, to be honest with you. I'm more the kicking and screaming type. So let me get rid of this. Again, this is a practice run, folks. So bear with me. Yeah, as far as, Kevin Smith is concerned, what he's done for nerddom, you can almost say, like, especially on the convention and circuit, he's kind of at the level, not a Stan Lee, but and maybe not even on the nerddom genre Mount Rushmore, but he's a honorable mention. And not even for what he's done creatively. Most of his movies kind of suck, but the first few were pretty damn good. Um, but it's what he's done getting the word out, making, when he started up, it was still dorky to read comic books. People still give you shit for reading comic books. So he was the first one to kind of, well, not the first, but the loudest one to get out there and, unabashedly love this stuff. And it happened in a time, his timing was perfect. When Clerks came out, this was, it was the mid 90s. Pretty much everybody my age and his age had either worked in retail or was working in retail. So we really identified with the movie Clerks. And the whole, like, I wasn't even supposed to be here today. I worked in a record store at the time with all my friends, and we went to that opening night. And it really spoke to us. So he was unfortunately a voice of a generation. The ultimate slacker. And yeah, I'm really glad he's alive. I don't want Kevin Smith to die. And having I don't want to get too personal here, but having had a near death experience, now not the one where you die and go through the tunnel or anything like that, but just having gone through something similar and coming out the other side of that, it really does rock your world, change your perspective, get you in touch with things you like. I was, when I was a full-blown atheist at the time, now I'm more of a, I don't know. Now I'm more of an, I don't know. But since that happened, it really did rock my world. It didn't change my ways, believe it or not, at the time, but later on, it played a part in me getting healthier. I am a grateful recovering drug and alcohol addict, and I'll just go out and say it. I OD'd and came out of it. Went back to it for a little while, and but eventually got sober. And that was the thing that started my way to get sober. But that tells you something about the addict. Not to get too much about myself here, but like after you OD, you just go back to it. Now, addiction's tough. But Kevin, he just had a heart attack. My father-in-law had one a couple of years ago. It's a miracle he survived, and it shows you how far we've come now. Because he probably would have been a goner even 10 years ago. So yeah, glad he's still here. Glad he's above ground to come back and insult our senses with more comic book men. So get better, Kevin Smith. And the dark side of me, it looks at this like it just blew up Twitter today. And that selfie he took in the hospital bed, and I started getting like a Heather's moment in my head. Like a bunch of people are going to start, I don't know, inducing heart attacks to get attention on Twitter or something like that. I don't know. That's the dark side of me. And if you haven't seen Heather's, go see Heather's. You'll know what I'm talking about. All right. So on the lighter news of the day, hang on, before I get over there, let me get my comments up. Again, this is going to be real rough, folks. You're going to see all the bells and whistles. I have not done a solo live stream. I rely heavily on my co-hosts, but they are, well, one of them's working today. I think the other one's asleep. You can guess which one. Hey, Ghost World, what's up? How's it going, everybody? Let me read some of these comments here before I get into the next news thing. And what's up, Bam and Apple Crow? How's it going? Yeah. So yeah, this is yeah, we actually do stuff in the day. That's why I wanted to hit this up. Actually, our live streams at night were conflicting with live streams I like to watch. Fellow YouTubers that are friends of mine. I don't want to step on their toes. Not that our little channel would step on their toes, but I also wanted to, I'm off on Mondays, and I really don't do a bunch. On Monday, like the kids are at school and the wife's at work, so I have a lot of time to myself. I'm like, what the hell? Let's do a live stream. And just spamming and shit. What's up? Yo, Comics Division, what's up? Hey, this is a good time to announce this. And again, this is just a test, guys. I don't even know if I'm gonna leave this video up. I don't know how long I can talk to myself. I don't know if I'm because that takes talent. It really does. So Comics Division was kind enough to invite me to a live stream on Thursday night on his channel. And search YouTube Comics Division. I will pop you guys a link, and I'll be pubbing it on Twitter, and our next two podcasts are going to be live. And we're going to be talking a little comic retailing with Feisty Fan, who is a current comic shop manager. Looking forward to that. That's going to be lots of fun. So yeah, so that's going to be this Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Pacific time, and I'll be there, and I'll do some preparation, which I definitely don't do for this channel at all. I think the prep on this one was me looking up, just reading the headlines on the internet. So that's pretty much what Monday Matt does, right? I mean, same thing, right? So yeah. So the next news is hilarious because I love the headline of it, and then I actually read the article. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is freaking news. And it was Mark Hamill in the running. It says Mark Hamill and James Gunn talk about possible role in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I'm all, shit, cool. That's freaking great. And then you read the article, and it's like, it was a fan on Twitter going, hey, it'd be awesome if Mark Hamill was in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And then they responded like, oh, that would be awesome. And he's my neighbor and blah, blah, blah. And you can see all the Twitter stuff. And, you know, I don't know if this could actually lead into a role. It's probably just going to be a cameo role, but I love the internet. I love it so much when like a tweet just going, hey, this would be awesome, becomes a thing just automatically. And of course I bit, you know, like a bass, that bait, that low hanging fruit. I took it. And you know, the most interesting thing, I don't know where the tweet is. Oh, there it is right there. I would be happy to do so, both as a good neighbor and as an unemployed actor. So that's the second time he's brought that up. Is he not going to be in episode 9, or is he just unemployed now until episode 9 comes out? Yeah, I mean, I know he's going to probably be a Force ghost. I was kind of hoping they would just retcon it and find a way to keep him alive and rework that horrific end that he had that pretty much ruined the original trilogy for me. At first, when I saw it, I'm like, God, you know, I could just pretend this one doesn't exist, but I can't. It did ruin it for me. You know, that was it gets worse the more I think about it. Now I'm not ever going to see that movie again. And I'm not going to see Solo, and I'm not going to see episode 9. And you know, the other guys can do it and cover it on the station if they want to, but I've washed my hands of it. I got better things to do with my life than watch bad storytelling. So yeah, total clickbait, Ghost World. But I mean, that's the internet. You know, I have to get way better at our clickbaiting titles. Like tonight we're going to talk about The Tick, and I was thinking about calling it saying like The Tick is better than Black Panther, and see what happens, you know, because it is. But I mean, Black Panther is good, but don't get me wrong, it's not The Tick. I don't know, have you guys watched The Tick? You guys really need to be watching The Tick. It's so damn good. Yeah, I'm Ghost World says I'm sure he's coming back for 9. I'd really be surprised if he didn't. Yeah, I mean, but is it just gonna be a Force ghost? I want him to be in it more because that means it's less of the other ones, but you know, again, not going to see it. So the damage is done. The damage is done. Yes, I'm old man fan, Star Wars fan, yelling for the new ones, the kids with their pops to get off my lawn. And yep, proud of it. No problem with that at all. Oh, so yeah. So, Mark Hamill being in Guardians of the Galaxy 3, that's interesting. And that also goes into, apparently Chris Pratt had tweeted thoughts and prayers to Kevin Smith, and then it got some backlash because somebody related that as a political statement for the gun control debate that's going on. I mean, that's a stretch that I don't know. I just read the response from James Gunn going, you know, it's okay, you know, and when somebody has to come out and go, you know, it's okay to send thoughts and prayers, it doesn't mean like, you know, you're pro or against the Second Amendment. That's how ridiculous things are getting on on Twitter, and I watch a lot of Twitter drama videos, but I don't actually go on Twitter and read them. I follow my guys and I see what they say, but don't really get involved because I just don't want to get involved. I'm not clever enough to come back. Some of the guys I follow are really good with the quips, and I'll let them do it. They do it very well. I'd end up just getting pissed off, and I don't want to get pissed off. But the Twitter drama videos are great. Comics Division did a great JJ Abrams video. You guys have got to go see that. Just check out his channel, go see that video. That's one of his best. It's one of your best, Comics Division. All right. Better things to do than watch better things to do than watch bad storytelling, but I watch Discovery. Okay, I got nothing. You got me there. You got me there. That was I don't know if I want to cover it next year, especially with how they ended it, bringing in the Enterprise. Sorry, spoilers, everybody. So they bring in the Enterprise with the distress call, and I didn't even think about it when I was doing the recap, but then afterwards I'm like, oh, Spock's on that ship. Oh, Christ. So it's just going to be Michael Burnham, telling Spock what to do and doing something better than Spock and giving him the idea to say live long and prosper, and probably teaching him how to do the Vulcan neck pinch. I guarantee you that she's going to teach him how to do the Vulcan neck pinch. So yeah, that show was bad. It was really bad. It was the worst thing we covered. And it's also, God, I'm saying it out loud. It was the best thing for our channel. That thing got us so many subscribers. And we were thinking about not covering it. I was the one like, I don't know, man. I don't know. But John talked me into it. And I'm glad he did. We had a lot of fun. We got to meet a lot of new people. And I don't know, John liked it. So I don't know if people subscribe to us because John liked it or I didn't. So I think it was a little mix of both probably. But and you're welcome, Comics Division. You're most welcome. All right. Sorry. I watched the DSC reviews. I gave up during the pilot. Yeah. The Discovery reviews. Yeah. The pilot was schlocky. There was some, okay. The Mirror Universe stuff was good. Okay. It was passable. I would call it good. I was at least somewhat entertained because if they would have stayed there and done something fun and interesting, that's fine. But just the writing was bad. The effects were fine. I have no problem with the premise. I have no problem with the lead. But her acting wasn't great, but I think it was mostly because the writing was just horrific. But it's all Akiva Goldsmith. If you guys are familiar with him, he brought us the brilliant Batman and Robin. So, and that's the guy who was the creative force behind the show after Brian Fuller left. David Foreman says, wait for The Expanse. It'll be, I'll be there for every episode for sure. I like you like hearing our opinions on it. Hey, thank you. I love The Expanse. That's how you do a science fiction show. And with strong, flawed female leads. And, it's based on a great book that always helps. And yeah, it's a fun show. It's a good replacement. It's very Battlestar Galactica in tone. A show which I miss a lot, but love The Expanse. There's a lot of good shows coming up that I don't know if a lot of people are watching, and that was going to be one of the things I was going to bring up today. Was not to should you, we say that in the program, don't should people, but you should be watching some of this stuff if you're not already. The first one I'm gonna talk about is Counterpart. On the surface, you might go, I don't know. It's the lead is an old guy, but it's J.K. Simmons, who's badass. He was great in Oz. Oh God, people are actually calling me because it's during the day. He was badass in Oz, and great. J. Jonah Jameson. They should actually. I hope they bring him back for Homecoming. That would be cool. I think people would be okay with that. But it is a spy drama. It's a sci-fi spy drama. And an experiment happened during the Cold War, and some Eastern European scientists accidentally made a copy of our reality. And there's a tunnel. There's just one access tunnel, and apparently only one person can go through at a time. But the two realities are are in contact with each other, and it's basically, it starts out with our side, and then everybody in our side, they're not different people per se, they're copies of you. So there's our main character, Howard Silk, and his counterpart is Howard Prime. He's still called Howard Silk, but they call him, to tell the difference between the two, we just call him Howard Prime. And they're very different in personality. One's like really meek and nice, it's stayed at his job for 30 years, and the other one's a super spy. And apparently there's a lot of heat between the two sides. They started out when the accident first happened, they were pretty much identical, but as time has gone on, they drifted apart. And there was without spoiling it too much, there was a contagion or a plague or something happened on the copied side, and it killed, we don't know how many people, but it totally changed the society. You don't see a lot of people on the street. Everything's sterile and clean. People walk around with masks on, which is actually, people walk around San Francisco with masks on all the time. And so it's basically this Cold War. There's a lot of ciphers, a lot of spy stuff. And it's a lot of fun because you see everybody plays two different characters. Some of them are really close in personality, almost identical. Some of them aren't. And one side is infiltrating the other to some nefarious end, something bad, like maybe killing everybody or getting revenge for the plague. We're not sure, but it is written so well. It is shot so well. Everything about the show is perfect. So that is a show you should definitely check out if you haven't already. I just lost my comments. Hang on. Boom, boom, boom. All right, I'm going to read some of the comments here. Let me get back up there. So Silver Spike 1 says Spock, back to Discovery, Spock will be conveniently on shore leave, I'm guessing. Absolutely. There was also I heard a crazy rumor today about Discovery, or not yesterday, I heard it, sorry, not today, that there even might be a Captain Kirk. That would be insane. That if you want to see like Trekkies and Trekkers pull on a full scanners, that would do it right there. You would actually see violence on the streets. A bunch of nerds throwing their monitors. All right. I agree, Ghost World. I think if Discovery gets, I think they're going to get a new showrunner, or they're the showrunner that took its place is going to have, full control at this time. They had to piece together Brian Fuller's scripts. So and none of them were the writer to the level of Brian Fuller. I mean, say what you want about the guy, he's a good writer. Doesn't really finish anything, a lot like J.J. Abrams, but his concepts are better than J.J. Abrams for sure. He did a great job with American Gods. I think though it'll be more cohesive. And if they need to bring back Lorca, okay, he was the best thing in it, and it definitely missed him. Jason Isaacs when he was gone. And agreed, Ghost World. Naomi Nagata is an amazing character. And the show does gloss over it, but it really looks like this season they're gonna put in. It looks like they're gonna add some of the fifth book stuff into the third book, and I know you've read the books, Ghost World, so you know what I'm talking about. And the fifth book is my favorite book. And third book's pretty good too. But they're going to mix two of those things. I love how when they're adapting the book, they do it in a season and a half. So the first book ended halfway through the second season, so they give it more time. They also I can't wait to see another certain character come back too. I think that will be helpful to the show. I'm wondering how they're going to do that. That's going to be very interesting. But I can't wait. Dennis was a little down on the teaser. I was just happy to see it back. It didn't tell you much. They haven't done a bunch of promo for this, which is crazy because it was really all over Comic-Con. It had a good presence at Comic-Con. It had a little escape room thing that was out on the Comic-Con. I don't know if you guys know, this is spread out to the streets of San Diego. So it's truly become Nerdy Gras. Now, as far as actual events and Hollywood going there and getting announcements, it's really gone downhill the last couple of years. A lot of people are doing their own things to do. They're not using Comic-Con to make their announcements anymore, but it's still something as a comic fan, as a nerd, you should experience once in your life. I've been spoiled. I grew up down there. And so I've gone to upwards of, I'm almost at 35 Comic-Cons. I went as a kid when it was at the El Cortez Hotel and you could smoke inside. So I've gone to many, many, many cons, been very spoiled with that. But if you haven't been, it's worth the trip. For one, San Diego's a really fun city. Way more fun than it used to be. It used to be really boring. The stuff out in the street. So if, say you can't get a ticket for one day, you're good, because the stuff that's out on the streets, it's almost, I would say almost a square mile of stuff now. It's crazy how much stuff they have down there. The Blade Runner thing was the best. The Blade Runner thing was the best. So yeah, definitely worth the trip. Oh, right. Sorry for the silences. I'm reading my comments and I cannot see. I really got to get some progressives. God damn, I'm getting old. Yeah, Dave Foreman says the Expanse does have a huge advantage that it hasn't been on has never been on TV or the big screen or anything. Yeah, it's that rarity. It's something new that they tried and adapted a book. But the writers of the book, James S.A. Corey is actually two writers, Abrams, and I forget the other guy's name, but and they were both pretty much mentored by George R.R. Martin, so they write it a little bit in the Game of Thrones style. Through perspective. In the later books, they're really good. Each book feels really different because you've always got the crew of the Rocinante, but the books aren't always about them. It's about these new characters that they bring in. Some of them are good, some of them are not. And the last book that came out through the biggest, just left turn, that I didn't like it when I first read it, and then I read it again and I loved it. So yeah, it's going to a really fun place, and I think it's going to be 9 books altogether, and they come out with a book every year. They crank it like on time every year. Around November you get a new book, so it's good stuff. Captain Kirk, oh Christ. I know, right? Yeah, the one thing Discovery wasn't guilty of was fan service until the very end. There was a lot of fan offense, but there wasn't a lot of fan service. But bringing the Enterprise in, I think they're just luring you in to do more fan offense on that one. That's just going to end up. That's one of those questions: is why did they go prequel? Wouldn't it just be easier to go 80 years after Picard and go from there? And you would be free of, you can make your own canon. You can do spore drives. You could do whatever you want. And I know that I asked that question knowing the answer. It was money. They think prequels sell. Plus there's also the rights issues with when Viacom split. So there's a lot of stuff going on there. Yeah, and I don't know if we'll see a Star Trek movie again. There's a lot of craziness going on with those rights right now. So there we go. Yeah. Oh, I was really, really feeling the Luke effect the last book, but once I reread it, I actually did like how they handled it. Yeah. There's still a couple things that okay, let's do a little quick book talk just between me and Ghost World. When Bobby beat Amos in a fight. Now, I know Amos was messed up and I know he's older, and they weren't super clear on how old they were, because you could take drugs in the future they're de-aging drugs. So you live longer. But Bobby's badass, okay? But Amos, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't too sure about that. I still love Bobby, don't get me wrong. There we go. So, okay. So here, and I'll backtrack through your comments a little bit too. Like I said, woefully unprepared for this. I know I still have the stupid picture up. Sorry. Dennis is probably watching this, laughing his ass off. There we go. Okay, I'm back. You're back talking to me now. Okay, so all right. Oh, another show you should be watching is and everybody in here watched it, I'm pretty sure. But this is for the folks who might not be in the comments, is Happy. You need to be watching Happy. Happy was a show I was down with from the beginning because a friend of mine did the comic, drew the comic, and I was going to, pimp it anyway, but it ended up being a phenomenal show. And it very much on the level of the first 2 seasons of Ash versus Evil Dead. It's funny. It's pretty gonzo. It's not for everybody. You got to be really into the kind of humor from kind of a, of course, Crank. It's from the director of Crank, but also like early Guy Ritchie kind of stuff. Smoking Aces stuff about that level. You have to kind of like that kind of stuff, which is really kinetic, crazy shooting, shooting, not gun shooting, but camera shooting. And it's also about an imaginary friend. So you have Patton Oswalt voicing a little blue unicorn jackass, following an ex-cop hitman who's morally gray at best, does a lot of drugs and kills a lot of people. So yeah, so I can see how this isn't on mainstream TV, but it was one of the funniest shows, just wrong in every way. But it also still had enough heart for it to not just be, just a crass comedy, which I am a fan of. Don't worry, I'm a fan of that, but it had enough heart. And that's what Ash vs. Evil Dead season 1 and 2 pulls off perfectly. So if you get a chance, Counterpart, Happy, go see these shows. Do what you have to do. I'm not going to judge. You got to watch. Stuff gets expensive, and I think they'd just be happy that you were watching their show. I don't know why they don't do the drug dealer approach of first one's free, kid. Like throw out an episode or 2 Amazon or Stars for free, because I guarantee you watch the Counterpart pilot, you'll be locked in. That is one of the better pilots I've ever seen. What's up, Brian? Happy exceeded all expectations. Happy also had a Sin City feel. Exactly. Very much so. A Sin City feel. The first Sin City, which is a fine movie. What's up, Isaiah? What's up, patron? The visual style Happy was cool too. It was. Good color palette, well directed, and maybe that's where Brian Taylor belongs, because sometimes he goes a little too far with his film directing, but you're constrained in TV, and even his constrained was better than most people's regular on TV. A very cinematic TV show, very well thought out. Honestly, when Derek first told me it was going to be a show, and I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself to people who've heard this before, but I even said, I'm like, what? A Happy before Transmetropolitan, Happy before The Boys. Happy is going to be your first thing that goes out. He was stoked. He was so freaking happy because he'd been waiting for that train for a long time. Yeah. If you guys don't know, these comic artists, they get approached, oh my God, every month with an option with we're going to do your thing. And man, it'll go into production. It'll get greenlit. Look at how many times The Boys has been shut down. It's been shut down 4 times. Thankfully, it's well on its way. It's been casted. It's coming out, and we will have Derek on to talk about it very soon. But Happy was like, what is a 4-issue Christmas miniseries that, has a pretty definitive ending. And no, they did a great job expanding it. It's actually better than the comic. It is. And having Grant Morrison on, who knew he had it in him to write TV? I think we might have lost him as a comic writer for good. And I tell you, a lot of those writers, that's what that their end goal is to get out of comics. That's always been kind of one of my complaints. There's a lot of comic writers and artists have one foot out the door. You got to have aspirations for your career, but then there's some of them who just got to go, you know what? I'm a comic book writer. And there's nothing wrong with that. That could be a very lucrative career if you're good. And it beats, your day job, that's for sure. In some instances, except if you're working for Marvel right now, that'd be drudgery, I think. Oh man, I didn't think so many of you guys would be here. This is crazy. But if you came in late, I'm going to repeat myself a little bit. This is practice. This is a solo streaming practice. Dennis could get sick one day. John could get sick one day. Plus, I'm not doing anything on Mondays, especially now. And I don't have to pick up my kid from school today. So I'm free to do what I want. It's kind of nice. We need to get, Derek, yeah, we need to get Derek on the show and explain why he had a plane crash into me too in The Boys, and I got stabbed in the mouth, and maybe there's something I need to know. Maybe I pissed him off. I'm not really sure. I haven't talked to him in a 3 weeks, but I think we're cool. But maybe we haven't been. I don't know. Seriously, we're gonna get him on the show. He wants to get on the show. He's got the wackiest schedule right now. Plus, his drawing takes forever, ever. Because he inks all his own stuff, and he's really detailed, and he's old school. You know, pen and paper, and a desk, and that's it. Yeah. So yeah, with the boys coming up. I think we're gonna go live with Derek. So he has agreed to do us live. So I'll be sure to pub it properly. I'll give you guys like a month notice. If I can get him to commit that far out, that's going to be kind of tough. But yeah, we're going to do it live so you guys can ask him questions. He's a very friendly, affable guy. He talks more than I do. So it will be a very long live stream. I guarantee you that. Once he gets going, he'll get going. One time we had an appearance at my store, and he told me, I'm on this deadline, man. We can only do 2 hours. I'm like, hey, that dude, 2 hours is great. No problem. He closed the place down. He started yakking and just said, F deadlines, and closed the place down. It was awesome. And then he went out to dinner. We got a bunch of us said, let's go out to eat. Yeah. So he went with us. And that was cool. There was like 10 of us, Derek Robertson at a Chili's in San Francisco. It was a good time. Is there a time frame for The Boys? Yes, it's going to be early 2019. They just finished up casting. They're going to start shooting within the next month. And, I think Derek actually has a little bit of creative say in this one. He didn't really end happy, which is normal. A lot of times the artists don't get creative say, but Derek has a deal with The Boys, because when it got canceled at Wildstorm, all the rights reverted back to Derek and Garth, and I'm pretty sure they negotiated 50-50, which is rare. Usually it's 60-40 and 60% the writer. So Derek maintains some rights. I think he like maybe a creative consultant on this one, which will be cool. That'll be a lot of fun. It'll keep him very busy, I'm sure. But yeah, his train came in finally. He deserves it. God, he's been doing this forever. And Transmet, it's out there now that Transmet is gonna get made, and I think it is HBO. That's HBO is kind of feeling it now that Game of Thrones is ending. We were talking about it last night, actually, that Starz has better shows across the board than HBO. HBO's got the two big ones right now, Game of Thrones and Westworld, but there's more shows I'd watch on Starz than on HBO. And I think they want to get more genre stuff. They got Watchmen coming. And I think Transmet, in the right hands, would be a fantastic and very topical show for right now. I think it would be very, I don't know how expensive it would be. It would be sets. I think you'd have to tone down like the big city backgrounds and stuff like that. But after watching Altered Carbon, you can do Transmet big time. Excuse me. I've been reading the Wanted comic. Okay. This is Mike McKay. I've been reading the Wanted comic recently, and I'm quite surprised how different it was from the film, which I wound up watching first time for some reason. Okay. Sorry. Horrible reader there. Yeah, it is not the same movie at all. Not the same movie at all. Wanted, if you haven't, I actually love Wanted. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea. I think it's funny as hell. It's Mark Millar at his absolute darkest and jadedest or whatever. But it's, it wanted, yeah, if you watch the film, it's Angelina Jolie and it's about spies, and no, it's a super villain thing. It's got a super villain called Shithead, who was made out of 666 pieces of shit from the 666 most evil people in the world. Yeah, it's totally different. So I'm looking forward to seeing that on Netflix, because Millar did that exclusive with Netflix. So we're gonna get, oh dude, we're gonna get Chosen, the Chrononauts. That's actually in production. They're gonna do the Chrononauts, which I can't wait to see that. Superior, which is Dark Nemesis, all that Millar world stuff. Don't think we're gonna get Kick-Ass, but I hope we get Wanted, like a properly done Wanted. And maybe they'll even get Eminem to do it. He's not doing anything other than really bad music. But, sorry, that's my opinion, by the way. My son loves old Eminem. I don't know where I went wrong, but there you go. Can't be a perfect dad, I guess. Oh, so, yeah. Other shows you should be watching. I was watching, I don't know if you guys ever heard of, I'm sure you've heard, she's got like 500,000 subscribers over that. Beyond the Trailer, Grace, what's her name? And I watched her review of Legion today, and she kind of bagged on it. And I was surprised. She's the first person I've heard bag on that, other than my co-host, John. It is a wonderful show. Yeah, it's weird. A lot of times it can come off as weird for weird's sake. If you even go back, our Dennis and my recap from the second episode, we hated it. We ripped the show apart, but it actually was just 8 pieces to a story. They weren't really individual episodes. So once we saw that in context, we're like, oh, it actually was good, and we were wrong. And I just didn't understand what the hell I was seeing. It is the best thing Fox has done with the X-Men, in my opinion, aside from Logan. But best TV. It's way better than The Gifted, and it's a show you should be checking out. It premieres April 4th, so definitely check it out. The ratings initially weren't good, but apparently the thing did gangbusters in streaming and in the secondary market, so it is worth its second season. Definitely worth checking out. Way better than the comic. I never liked the comic at all. I just thought, well, what are you going to do with this too powerful a character? You make him his own enemy and blah, blah, blah. And it didn't, the art was cool because I love Bill Sienkiewicz, but the story just didn't do anything for me back then. But now seeing it in the context of television, seeing that stuff moving, it's much better. And it is a supervillain origin story. We got to remember that. That's what Noah Hawley said from the get-go. Hey, Mr. Neely, what's up? Grace Randolph, yes. Yes, she is pretty ridiculous, to put it mildly. She once said there's nothing to Ant-Man except for a wife beating. Oh, God. Really? Yeah. Really? Yeah. I may have to unsubscribe after saying that. There's nothing to oh, God. Yeah, I heard her make... oh God, she was talking about Joss Whedon. She was ripping Joss Whedon. The Joss Whedon. Yeah, watch that video. She shreds him. That one might be deserved a little bit, but but yeah, she let him have it pretty bad. Yeah, that gets. Just I do like some of her. Like I don't watch trailer reactions. Those are the worst things ever to me. But I did like some of her movie reviews. I thought her Black Panther review was pretty good. Kind of lock and step with mine. I don't always have to agree with somebody, but yeah, she gets a little, I don't know. But she's got a platform, right? Doesn't she write for Entertainment Weekly or Vanity Fair or something like that? So. Oh yeah. Yeah, likes to Applecrow says that reminds me of everybody who mentions Batman's only power is being rich. Yeah, oh stop. Please stop. Batman's superpower is it's actually many things, but it's being driven, focused, being yeah, being probably the most focused living thing on the planet. Uh, Attention to detail, nothing gets past him. Only the Joker gets past him, and that's only once in a while. Once in a while, you can get Batman, but not forever. He does make mistakes, but he never repeats them. Yeah, no, not his only superpower. Yeah, oh, you are welcome. Mr. Neely says, thank you for not doing trailer reaction videos. Hell no. Those are cringy. The genuine ones that started this whole thing out, those were fun. Like when you saw the reaction to the Red Wedding, that was fun. Uh, and that all started out from book people going, oh, knowing what's going to happen. It's like, I'm going to record this. I can't wait to see it, and the Jon Snow death was pretty good. But yeah, the trailer reaction, oh, bad. Those are bad. Those are bad. I think the only funny thing is somebody should probably do a trailer reaction of a trailer reaction. That might be funny if done right by the right person. Oh my God. Mute. Are you talking about the movie? We just saw that. I did not like it. I did not like Mute. There are some people who really dig that. Like my wife is the kind of person who can watch something completely depressing and have a little cry and want to do it again. I was like, nah, I'm not. Not me. Yeah. If somebody ain't dying at the end, my wife is kind of out. So yeah. Hairdressers. Never figure them out. Now it's just Mr. Neely says now it's just narrating on screen. Yeah, trailer reactions, and they oh my God, the worst is actually a channel I subscribe to, and I love his information, but is Armin at Comic Book Cast 2. His trailer reactions are god awful. But his videos don't say a lot, but he like gets them up fast, and he's pretty quick with his news, and his news is pretty solid most of the time. I'll give him that. And this is speaking as somebody who isn't on Twitter, which is the fastest place to get your information, but I'm not there all the time. So because I'm busy with work or doing this stuff, watching TV. Yeah, his God, the last one he did was Infinity War, or the last one I saw was Infinity War. It's so bad. Oh my God. But hey, it got like 25,000 views. So what the hell do I know? Yeah. So yeah, Kevin Smith, heart attack. What just got me was this his selfie in the hospital bed, and he did that Kevin Smith face that he does for every picture. I don't know why he does that. It doesn't look good. Let's go to Bleeding Cool and see if I can navigate through all the pop-ups here. Oh, the Army of Darkness comic from freaking Dark Horse. That was awesome. Should I tell a story? I can't tell that one. I can't tell that. I should tell the story. I got a weird story. Okay. No, that one's too sad. Well, that's a good comic. What's a good comic Outpost story? Oh, okay. Yeah, this I kind of repeating this one, but 2013 was Comic Outpost last year as an organization at Comic-Con. We were retailing there, and because I was I knew it was going to be my last year there, I'm like, screw it, I'm not going to retail here. I kind of lied to them, and I made my booth a studio. It's kind of what Nerdrotic came from, but it was the most failed experiment ever. Horribly embarrassing. So I hired a host, a real host, to come in, and this host helped get all this great talent: Dave Gibbons, Jeff Smith, just a bunch of absolutely huge comic creators came in to do interviews in my booth, and we made like a little TV studio, and we're going to do it live. Now, this was 2013, so YouTube did have live stream, but it was kind of janky, and we paid for internet connection at San Diego Comic-Con, which was like $150 for 3 days. It was ridiculous. Then we had to pay for power at our booth, which was another $200 for 3 days. And we had all these guests come over, and I had a cameraman. I had this really expensive camera, and we had a dude work in the front to keep everybody out of the booth, and also to watch out for Comic-Con security guards who want to shut us down because we weren't, you're supposed to be placed in a certain area if you're going to do that stuff, and you really weren't supposed to do like live streaming from the floor instead when you said you were going to retail. So it was kind of guerrilla live stream video, and we fortunately recorded it all, but immediately we couldn't go live. The internet, even the one we paid for, was too janky. So I had been pubbing this for like months. So that was the first embarrassing thing. And then half our equipment wasn't working, and then half our crew decided to like bail and go experience Comic-Con and not come back on time and miss, like one guy was supposed to operate a camera. So I ended up doing kind of everything, and getting more pissed off as the time goes on. It was just so bad. So I spent all this money, all this time. We got all these creators, promised them we're going to give them, cut them a piece of video and shoot it out to them. And we're like, screw it, we won't do it live. We'll just put it on YouTube later on. And it just all fell apart. It all fell apart. And of course, I still had to pay everybody. So that video still exists. It's never, ever, ever seen the light of day. And I've got like Dave Gibbons talking about Before Watchmen, which is pretty good. Talking about Alan Moore. He's the artist from Watchmen, by the way. And yeah, some really, really good stuff. So that I guess I'm going to start, I'll put little pieces on the YouTube channel, but the big one's going to have to go on Patreon because I can't put some of the stuff on the YouTube channel, if you know what I mean. And I've got a lot more Comic Outpost video from that. But that way, yeah, one of the most, it was just horrible. I had to apologize to the creative talent, which is always fun. It's always fun going, yeah, I know I dragged you out here and interviewed you, and now it's not going to be up. Sorry, I suck. So yeah, when you put yourself out there, man, sometimes you fall on your face, and it's very public. And that was only half of the drama behind the scenes was more than I could handle. Yeah, put everybody up in hotels too. God, it was a fortune. It was a goddamn fortune. But that's one of those lessons in life, Mr. Neely. I was disappointed as well. I could laugh about it now. But I haven't even watched the video, so I'm going to start editing it, and we'll see what happens. So you're going to get a lot of fun Comic Outpost stuff on the Patreon that I can't talk about on YouTube. I'll tease a little bit, from time to time, and I'll try to put as much as I can on the YouTube the channel without getting in trouble. I gotta, I've got friends to think about, and I want to keep them. Oh my God. Yeah. I always thought I was tempted to, and thankfully my co-host talked me out of it. For one, there's when this the whole when the whole comic criticism thing started happening, I was going to jump into that, but I decided against it, probably because I wouldn't be as good as the guys doing it now, for one, because I'd be way too middle of the road. But I could also get myself in like a lot of trouble because I was told way too much stuff in confidence, and I blab. So thankfully I have, Dennis usually keeps me from blabbing too much. Yeah, I wish maybe if we're all like going to hang out someday, we can chat about it, but not here. Not here. How long have I been going? God, I didn't know I could talk to myself. I knew I could talk a lot, but this is ridiculous. Oh wow, like an hour. Holy shit. All right, and I got way more people here, and I thought this is awesome. Detroit Rebel, Langley. It's always good seeing you, Langley. And Comics Division. What's up, man? Army of Darkness comics are the shit. I was just popping up a Bleed Cool, and I saw that cover, and I'm like, oh God, where are mine? I always have that little, because it's not a comic I've seen in a while. Have you ever done that with your comic collection? You're like, I know I have that. Where is it? Oh shit. And of course it's where it's alphabetized, but yeah, now after this, I have to go and make sure it's still there. But yeah, so there's like a comic shop and a half worth of stuff in my garage. So I'm just waiting to open another comic shop. And that's how I discovered all the comic book criticism YouTubes and the comic book YouTubes. I was like, when I sold the store, I'd given up reading comic books for 3 years. That's the first time in my life. I was like, I need a clean break. And not that I hated it. I started missing it immediately, but then I just got lost like any normal fan who would quit, and you try to go back and you're like, and it's funny seeing it from the other side going, oh shit, no wonder why people can't get back in. It's fucking confusing. And like you go to a store and if they're not organized, it's like, where do I start? It just looks like a Jackson Pollock painting, your new release rack now. And it gets confusing. So I decided to watch some videos. I'm like, yeah, let's get the lay of the land. What's going out. That's what YouTube is great for. It can get you just caught up on stuff. It's better than Wikipedia. Plus you get opinions with it. And, actually a lot of these channels like got me into reading, I would have never have picked up Mr. Miracle or, I would have picked up Batman White Knight because I like Sean Gordon Murphy, and Punk Rock Jesus was awesome. So I started reading that, and it started the itch started the wanting to do retailing again started coming back a little bit, but the industry is just such a shit show right now. I don't know what I'd be coming back to. I guess the one good thing is when I got my shop, I bought an existing shop. So it was on its way down, and it was like, sell it to me or go out of business. And I bought it, and he had, he still had some subscribers. I think he had like 70 at the time. So I had something to start with. And if you ever want to open a comic store, that I would recommend that. Doing it from scratch is, it's totally possible, but it's way easier when you have fixtures and comics in there that you're buying. So, and then you can make it your own over time. This time around, I'm going to do it from scratch. I'm going to do my own. I've got all the merchandise I need to start one. It's just timing, actually the plan was to do it in April of this year. But it got put back because I got this new gig that's actually pretty good. I was only going to do it temporary, but now it's like, oh, it's a pretty good gig. So it put that off a little bit. Plus the industry is not in the best place. But like I said, there's actually a ton of comic shops for sale right now. And you used to never see a comic shop for sale. But there's 2 for sale in California right now. I can't say. One's a big one. We'll see. We'll see. There you go. Me too. Digital and YouTube got me back into reading comics, said Mr. Neely. Yeah. I think I don't know. I watch what I watch, and I know there's a ton of stations out there, but is there a really big one that's affiliated with a comic shop? How many comic shops do their own YouTube channels? I'm sure quite a few do, but are they doing it consistently? To have a successful YouTube, you got to be pumping out at least 4 or 5 things a week. So yeah, I haven't seen any. And the one shop I know who has one, they don't do a ton of stuff. They tried, but it's really hard to maintain this. It's not, it's a lot of work. Comics division knows it's a lot of work to put a video together. And you guys know it. That's why I live stream. I don't have to edit. I'll just yammer through stuff. I don't care. So I cannot believe more comic shops, like every comic shop should have a YouTube channel, and they should be talking to people some guys get shipments Tuesday night, so they can like do early non-spoilery reviews. And that would boost sales, talk about the new releases. I would do, minimum, I'd do a podcast a week with the crew of the store, or if you're just a guy, then do it yourself. It's free. It's better than any advertising I could think of. The best advertising I had was I had I had a Honda Element at the time, and I had this comic Outpost magnet that I slapped on the side of my car and drove around, because I was always driving around San Francisco to pick up a shipment or pick up a kid from school or, pick up my wife from work. And that was the best advertisement ever. Like anything I ever paid for, people like, oh, I saw your magnet on your car, Another good one that they should try is when a superhero movie comes out, I would go hit my quarter bin and bring a couple of workers, bring 2 long boxes to the movie theater, And while everybody's waiting in line, you threw a business card or you put a stamp on it. This is before free comic book day stuff. So I was giving away, what was the first one I gave away? Is classic X-Men. I had a shitload of classic X-Men. So it was X-Men 2 and was passing out during that, and got a bunch of customers from that too. Just guerrilla advertising. And yeah, that worked too. So New 52 got you back. Is that what got you back, Comics Division? New 52? That's good to hear. It did bring a lot of people back. God, you know what didn't bring people back? And a lot of is movies. It brought some. I've even said it before that the Iron Man sales and Captain America sales were definitely affected by the movies. But I would argue, were they affected by the movies, or did they just get better creative talent at the time? Because Warren Ellis jumped on Iron Man, and then Brubaker was on Captain America, and Epting was doing the art. I think that had everything to do with Captain America sales, like rivaling X-Men sales. Because I've told this story a million times before. When I bought the store in 2003, I had 8 subscribers for Captain America and 7 for Iron Man. And when I sold the store, I had 100 plus for each. So that definitely changed. But you know, if movies, we'll see if Black Panther can stay in print without getting canceled for, you know, longer than the Priest run, which was 60 issues, which is like 5 or 6 years, then I'll say Black Panther helped. But until then, I don't know. They also got to write the comics to kind of match the character, not to identically, but you got to have the actual character in the comic and not have them replaced with somebody we don't know, you know. And then make new characters. Keep making new characters. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, Marvel Now. That was right when that's right when I sold. Marvel Now was around for a year before I sold, and it was doing gangbusters. My God, dude, Scotty Young covers, those Scotty Young variant covers were like printing money. It was stupid. I couldn't keep them in stock. I was ordering insane amounts of comic books. When Spider-Man, what was it? What Spider-Man was it? It was the first, the last one that led into the Superior Spider-Man. I can't remember the number now. I ordered there was an incentive in there that was like 1 in 500, if I remember correctly. Or it was 1 in 700, and I ordered like 3,000. It's the first time I ordered 3,000 anything. I thought I was losing my mind. But all the variants, I sold them like in the first day. So it, like, yeah, 2012 was, and 13 were nuts. That's why it was a good time to sell the shop. Really glad I missed the last couple of years though, because I probably would have stopped doing it forever. Yeah, Marvel Now is like I could not believe how much, and they were killing. They were selling outside my shop, which was filled with DC fans. We were outselling DC 3-1. Marvel titles on average were outselling. It was dumb what was going on. I'm glad DC, like, I was really happy when I heard a convergence and they were going to like bring all the worlds together, because we'd actually talked about that for years. We're like, God, DC should just bring everything back. And damn if it worked. The DC Rebirth is pretty great. Too bad it can't carry the industry though. And we need a lot more people buying comics. Because I was looking at those sales to do that last video I did. Now those were dumb. You know, God, Comics Division, all those guys have been throwing up the Comic-Con numbers, and it's shocking. It's so bad. It is so bad. And you know, God damn it. Sorry. So the crowd that has taken over comics is pretty much the they have a lot of names. They have many names, but it's the Alternative Press Expo. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the Alternative Press Expo. Used to be here in San Francisco. And it was actually really cool, but it was just all the underground comics, and it was run by the people who did Comic-Con. It has since moved. I don't know where the hell it is now, but it was in San Francisco for, 30 years. And it was all the zine people. And they seem to be kind of the ones in charge. I don't know if that's good. They definitely have their place in comics, but I don't think it's running superheroes, because to a man and woman, most of them don't like superheroes. It's pretty clear now. So, and there's nothing wrong with not liking superheroes. Just don't write or draw them, please, for those of us who do. And that was a great thing about having a store in San Francisco is I didn't have a ton of competition when it came to superhero stuff. Like if I want, if I wanted to sell blankets, then I'd have a lot of competition, but not Amazing Spider-Man. So yeah, I think I've been going for a long time now, and this is pretty good practice. So yeah, this was my practice run of talking to myself. When I go back and listen to us, I'll probably cringe my head off, but had to be done, and it had to be done live. I suppose I could have just done it by myself, but I would rather talk to the people. You guys are great, by the way. I have such a good crew here. We are spoiled. Yeah, and I got to thank you guys because my co-host Dennis, who pretty much dislikes everything, really loves doing this, and you see him smile once in a while, so that's a really good thing. It's a really good thing. See, when Dennis's face cracks a smile, you can hear it. It makes a noise. Just kidding, Dennis. Yeah. So, comics division, it was very good. Again, I want to tell you that we are going to be doing a live stream Thursday night on Comics Division's channel. I will send you guys all out links on the Twitters and the Facebooks. 8:30 p.m. Pacific time. Me and Feisty Fan will be talking to Comics Division about retailing more of this stuff. And definitely check out Comics Division. He's a very good channel, very good dude. I actually found him on a live stream, and that's how I found his channel. And yeah. Also, later today, Dennis and I will be doing The Tick. We'll be covering the last 3 episodes of The Tick. It was great. It was just freaking great. If you want the non-spoiler review in a second, it was awesome. Go watch it. It was good fun. The biggest difference with this Tick and Ticks of the past is this one had heart and sincerity. And I think it was actually a really good mix. It was a really good mix. And it's still the best comic book parody ever. And it's the one that's the hardest to pull off. It's easy to do like The Boys or The Pro. Anybody know what The Pro is? No, you got to know what I'm talking about with The Pro. But I don't think it's easy to do what Ben Edlund does with The Tick, which is I'm going to make fun of comics with love, So yes, that's comics with an X with Comics Division. Yeah, I think I told you this before. Comics Division on I Love Comics on his when he does the sales of what the retailer said, and he throws up the 10 comic shops that Bleeding Cool Talk puts up there. You notice Bleeding Cool always puts the same 2 comic shops, which is Comics Experience and Comic Experience Outpost, which is my old store. That's one guy, Brian Hibbs, who's like best buds with Rich Johnston. Little inside dope there. Probably told you that before. Yeah. So Ghost World, Silver Spike 1, Comics Division, Langley M. Neely. I have such a sophisticated name. I want to put my middle initial in too. That's cool. Apple Crow, Isaiah the Patron, and Brian Smart, one of our oldest subscribers. You are the man. And Ghost World, the lovely Ghost World. Thanks for coming in, guys, and putting up with this. I don't know. I'm gonna listen. I always listen to my podcast. It's really hard sometimes. But yeah, you can. I just told you all the stuff that's coming up, and all of our links will be in the description when this rolls into a video, if I decide to keep it up. And thank you all for participating in this. I had a good time. Maybe I'll do this again. Who knows? I'll be a little more prepared next time. I just kind of said, fuck it, let's do a video. So that'll be it for today, guys. And I will see you later tonight for The Tick. And yeah, hopefully somebody will watch it. I don't know. Tick is it's like our lowest rated video, but it's a passion project. Okay. It's a passion project. So good night, everybody. See you later. Take care.